Welcome everyone to this webinar. I'm Adolf Hillary Topel from the Helpdesk team, and the topic for today's webinar is workflow automation management and case studies. So let's see what will be what are we going to cover in today's webinar. So in this webinar, we're going to learn the following: that is, what is a workflow, how to add workflows, how to create workflow rules, and we'll discuss on a few case studies, so where you could get a better idea how you can implement the workflows. Now, what is a workflow? Well, a workflow consists of an orchestrated and a repeatable pattern of business. So you can see this definition, like it enables a systematic organization of resources into process that transforms materials provided to service a process, and this can be it can be as a sequence of operations of work, a person, a group, an organization of staff, or any more. So basically, workflow is how you can take a desired action, so using steps, using sequences. So there are different steps, so from start to end, how you achieve your end action. So that process is a workflow. How you can add and create a workflow. So to add and create a workflow, you need to log into the admin settings of your managed portal. And once you log in the admin settings, then you need to go on the workflow module, and there you can go inside the workflow module and you can click the workflow. Now the workflow, it consists of event, criteria, and action. Now let's go and add a workflow. Now first you need to log in to your managed portal. Once you log in to the managed portal, then you click on this drop down and you come to this admin settings. So once you're in the admin settings, then you scroll below to the automation, and in the automation you can find workflow, the workflow module. Now you click on this workflow module, and here you can find the default workflow, and if you want to add your own workflow, you need to go on this add workflow option. Now here, as you can see, the workflow, it is made up of events and it is made up of criterias, and then you can perform a desired action. Now first you need to give a title for the workflow. So you can give a title. Let's say I want to give, say, I want to create a workflow based on a priority. Now, so first you need to give the title, and then you can select the event. Let's say you're selecting the event as a new incident, and then in the match conditions, now here there are different match conditions, say based on the message or the name of the client. Now here, let's say if you want to create a workflow based on priority, so you can select priority. Now here there are different options like priority equals to or not equals to. Let's say priority equals to critical, so you can select that priority. You can also go and add criteria, like you can also go and add in, say, a status, or you can add in a department. You can add in from which client is sending that particular incident. So you can select all those fields that you want to. Okay, so based on that criteria, you select that, you can add that criteria. And here I've selected, like, suppose if status equals to open, and then you scroll below, and here you can take a desired action. And the actions, you can send a forward email template, you can change the department, you can assign it to a team, or you can assign it to a staff. Similarly, you can have the statuses changed, you can have the impacts changed, you can have the priority changed, you can even then you can perform all these activities that are listed here, these actions that is listed here. You can also have a label changed in this. Then you can also apply an SLA. Now say if it comes for priority 1 SLA, then you can escalate it. You can have the SLA as priority 2, 3 and so on. So you can create different workflow rules using this option. You just need to scroll below and click on the add option. So you just need to come to this settings in the workflow, and here you can create your own workflow rules. Now let's see some of the case studies where you can create your workflow rules. Now the first case study that we have is from the automotive industry. Now in this, the customers, like, they contact, let's say, through emails and portals. Now here the requirement was like in the automotive industry, where you have, say, queries about cars, about the purchase of the vehicle, or you'll have the servicing issues and different issues and questions related to this purchase of vehicle, the servicing. So the customers usually contact the company, the automotive company, through emails and the client portal. Now the requirements we had to create, say, based on the severity and the priority, certain tasks or certain actions had to be automated. So that can be performed by the workflow. So using the Vision Helpdesk and using the workflow module, you can automate those actions that you wanted to take, which you could do manually, but using the workflows you can automate it. Now say based on the priority or based on the severity, now certain actions had to be taken, like I have taken the example of forward an email template, assign it to a particular staff member, and also apply a desired SLA. Now here, if you want to create an SLA where you need to perform these actions, now here you first need to go to the workflow, and there you click on this add workflow option. So once I click on the add workflow, you need to give the title for which you're creating the workflow. Now you can click on this title option. So you give the title, and here, as you have selected events, you can select the event as a new incident or a client replies. So based on this event, then here you can go and select the priority. Now here, as the priority will be different priorities, like say low, medium, high or critical. Let's say I've selected the priority as medium. Okay. And now in this forward template, so I can send a forward template, an alert template. Now I can forward it to the email ID that I wish to over here. Let's say I'm selecting an email. And then in this, if I want, I can change the department, or I can assign it to a particular team. Now here I want this to be assigned to a particular team. Now I want any tickets that come in, and which, if its priority is equal to medium, so I can assign it to a particular team. Let's say I want to assign it to the technical support team, and in the staff, say if I want to assign it to one of the staff members, so I'm clicking on the name of that staff member, and I want even an SLA to be applied. So whenever ticket comes with the certain event and the criteria that I have selected, I want to assign a desired SLA. So I would click on the SLA. Let's
clicking over there.
Assign the priority to SLA. And then I would click on the add option. So there are different SLAs that I can create based on the events, criteria and the priority. And the SLA that you want to make, you want to add, so you can go to this SLA option, and here is where you can add the SLA. So before you go and add the workflow, you can go and add the SLA. So here in the SLA, you just need to give the title. you can select the work schedule for which you want to add that SLA, define the response time, the resolution time, and click on the add options. So you can create different SLAs based on the priority, say like priority 1 SLA, or the next level SLA, the level 3 SLA, so for the priority, so that you can define. Then we have the next case for the web hosting industry, where the customers usually contact mostly through the client portal and emails. Now the customers would contact for the web hosting company, say for buying the products, like different web hosting products, like let's say the shared hosting plan, or the reseller, the VPS, the dedicated server plan. Or else they might have some support queries, they might have some issues, they want to purchase some add-ons. So different queries used to come in through the client portal and emails. Now here the requirements, like there are different you can create the requirements that was based on the category and the subcategory. Let's say the category can be web hosting and the subcategory can be the type of the web hosting. Now you're using the workflow, so how you can manage and you can automate the task, the actions which your staff maybe would have to do it manually, but using the workflow you can automate that. Now let's say the you need to come to this incident page, where the submit incident page is there. Now here, this is the incident submission form. Now here the customer can select the department. The customer would give, say, the first name, and he would fill in the first name and the last name and the email ID. Here you can define, say, the based on the priority, and here they can select the category. Now let's say it selects the category as web hosting, and in the subcategory, this here you can define the customer, he can define what kind of plan he's purchased or what kind of plan he has. So this subcategory and category you can define. Now let's say the customer clicks on this dedicated support host plan, or the dedicated server hosting plan, and he's asking a query about specifications. Then he's typing the message, and here they're completing this clicking on this image verification. This is before login. Once your client logs in, then he'll not have to submit this verification. This is without logging. I'm submitting, creating an incident, and I click on the submit option, and here I've just clicked on this. So I've created an incident, and once that incident comes in the portal, so based on that incident, the subject, the criteria, based on the category, you can create the workflows. Now once, to create that particular kind of workflow, I need to go to the automations, and in the automations I can click again on the workflow. Now here I can define what kind of workflow I want based on the criteria, based on the category, the subcategory, and I can take a desired action based on all of those. So you, based on your industry type, based on the type of organization that you have, you need to define what you want to achieve with the workflow, like what is the process from where you're going to start and what action you want to take. So in the workflow, there are some fixed actions, there are criteria, there are events. So you can go through this workflow based on this event, you can check this, and based on the criteria. So these are the actions what you can perform. You can perform a forward email template, you can forward it to a particular email ID. Here you can have the department changed. You can have it assigned to a particular team. You can have it assigned to a staff. You can change the status. The impact can be changed. The priority can be changed. Similarly, you can have a flag to be changed. You can apply a label. You can have the category, subcategory changed. So using the workflows, you can perform and take an action. So you can automate it using this workflow option. Yeah, so I request you can type in your questions so I can get them answered. So you can type your questions and I'll have them answered. So we have a question by Lisa, and the question is, can I set up workflow based both on the criteria and the sub criteria? So yes, Lisa, this is possible. So in the workflow, once you select your event, and in the criteria, if you go to the category, so here you can select the category. Let's say I'm selecting the category as, let's say, web hosting, and in the add criteria again, I can also select the subcategory. There's a field over here for subcategory, and based on the subcategory, here I can select the subcategory that I want the desired action to be taken. So yes, Lisa, that is possible. So you can create even multiple workflows based on the category and subcategory for the desired action that you want to take. We have another question by Michael, and Michael has asked, how about a workflow on different technical groups? Who gets assigned the ticket? Now here, Michael, once say you have created the workflow based on your event, your criteria that you have selected. So in the assign, as you can see, you can assign it to the individual staff that you want to, and you can also assign it to a particular team. For example, here you can see you can assign it to a particular staff member that you want to. You can assign it to the administrator or the next person that you want, next level of staff that you want to assign, and you can also assign it to a particular team. Now here, if I'm assigning it to the technical support team, so the entire staff that is present within the technical support team, that ticket would be assigned to all those staff members in that respective team. So Michael has asked another question where Michael is telling, could I have subgroups within the technical support team? So here, Michael, regarding we do not have the subgroups, but what you can do is you can create different departments, and there you can assign, say, different teams, and in that teams you can have different groups like in that particular team. So based on the access right that you provide, there you can create those different teams. I'll just show that to you over here. Now, once you come over here to the settings, now as you can see here under this staff, if you go on this staff option, so if I click on this particular staff, so here I can find under this profile of the staff, so all the details of the staff comes, and in the access here I can define, say I've defined the working schedule of the staff. Here I have created a particular team for the staff, and here this is the role that the staff has been assigned. So in the roles, I can give a particular privilege or particular permission to the staff. So as you can see in the role, if I'm clicking on the role, here there are permissions related to incidents, and similarly there are different permissions given. So once I create a particular role, So I can assign that role to that respective staff, and I can also assign that particular staff to a respective team. So here I can create that teams, and for that particular team I can assign that staff member. So based on the role that I want to, for that particular sub team or that team to have, so I can create that team. So you can create a name like, let's say, the technical support team. Now technical support team A, technical support team B and C. So there you can define that particular permissions and rights for that team. So you can organize the team in that way. So I believe there are no further questions. So in case if you have any queries, you can always get in touch with us on our website, that is visionhelpdesk.com. Our email ID, that is sales@visionhelpdesk.com. You can also contact us on our Skype ID, that is vision.helpdesk. You can view the previous webinar recordings on our YouTube channel,